we were joking around before the podcast that there's really nothing in Scripture where Jesus says, quote unquote, I am God, that rests the case. Right. But are there passages or are there stories where it looks, in that context, that's clearly Jesus saying, no, I'm God? Yeah. Where do we see that? Discuss.
Yeah, I think for me, right now I'm diving into Easter, right? So we're looking at Good Friday stuff and the trial of Jesus. And I love that, like, at the beginning, they're asking him all these questions. Are you this? Are you that? And his response is, that's what you're saying. Like I love how he puts it back on them. But then he gets super bold and makes these claims that are basically saying, like, I am the Messiah. I am God. I am this person that's there. And that's where the priest is like ripping, his clothes and going all that stuff. And it's just this incredible moment of they get mad at Jesus and ultimately have Jesus killed because of his claim as God. And they're throwing it out as blasphemy. What's crazy is then the next step, what they do with him is they take him to Pilate and they look at him as king. Right, like for Pilate, it's all about the Roman part because they can't kill Jesus, so they need to do the king. And it's like they've just taken this God claim that really is what bothers them and put it on the side. But the whole reason they really wanted Jesus killed was his claim of being God,
right? And
what that threatened their position and their power and their authority. As the Pharisees and Sadducees and the religious rulers of the time. So it's like this at the crux of it all. What kind of catalyst into everything for Easter is Jesus saying, hey, this is who I am.
Yeah.
I am God in this moment.
Yeah, and I think that's an important perspective to keep in mind. So, when we have these other religions or whatever it might be that say, well, Jesus was really important, he was a prophet, but he never really said he was God. That's important context because that's why the Jews wanted him killed.
Right.
He said, speaking in ways that Jews would understand, he's blaspheming. Right. He's saying that he's God. He's making these claims. And I think that's really important to remember because it's easy to gloss over that and say, well, I guess, Jesus never really did say the words, I am God. But that's why they killed him.
Yeah. But he did say, I'm looking because it's not in my notes. John 15, 16, 17, somewhere in there, Jesus said, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father.
Yep.
Which is, if you do the math syllogism, that would say Jesus is God. Jesus equals God. So if you've seen Jesus, you've seen God. Yeah. Not quite so plain, but Hope, you were saying before we started filming, talk about what you said was one of your favorite verses
of the Word became flesh.
Yeah. You can change verses if you want. Right? No. Just talk about John 1.
Yeah, I just think that there's such power behind that verse of
what verse?
Of John 1. Don't call me out. But just in 1 John where it talks about in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. He was with God, meaning the Word is Jesus, and that is who the two of them are one. Right. But then I think continuing on, it says the Word dwelt among us.
Yeah.
And that is just, I don't know, there's something about that verse that I think there's such power behind that. And then just, to keep going, so piggybacking off of that whole I am thing, John also, I like John, if you can't tell, just in that whole book, but in John it talks about he gives 7 I am statements. So like, I am the bread of life. Like, yes, bread can physically nourish us, but Jesus he can spiritually nourish us. And he just goes out like, I am the light of the world. I am the gatekeeper and the good shepherd. I'm going to watch over my flock.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
living water. I'm living water.
Yeah.
I think that's, I resonate with you because John's my favorite gospel writer because John's book is so weird.
Copycat.
No, I know. It's easier just to cheat off people's homework. I agree with what you said. But looking at, especially in that context, of, again, what would this have sounded like to a Jewish audience that's religious? And Jesus repeatedly making these statements of, I am this, I am this, I am this. Yeah. And even at one point, it's in John 8, where Jesus answers and says, before Abraham came to be, I am. And that, for us grammatically, it's like, finish the sentence. I am what? But for them, it would have been like, oh, he's claiming to be the I am, the great I am. And that would have been like, oh, that's why they call them blasphemous. It's because that's a literal claim of I am God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And that points again back to Moses when he's in the wilderness and at the burning bush and God says, you need to go to Egypt and talk to Pharaoh. And Moses says, who do I say sent me? And God says, I am that I am.
Yeah.
And so all of those I am statements, for the Jews who were not believing, it had to just make the hair on the back of their necks stick up. And probably for some of the Jews, it made the hair on the back of their necks stick up as well, because it was like, wait, whoa.
Yeah.
Where are you going with this?
Yeah, those are radical claims.
Yeah.
For sure. So I think what we see clearly in Scripture, it's probably most evident in John, because a lot of John's, and John tells us the purpose of writing his book is, John says, I write these things so that you would believe, so that you would believe that Jesus is who he says he is.